Hello, Trevor Cutmore. This video is about buying property in the UK property market and what to watch out for. I really hope you enjoy this, packed with great information so you don't make a mistake. Hi everyone, I really hope you enjoy my videos. Please remember to share my videos with other groups that you belong to. Please subscribe, please make your comments, I love your comments, and talk about subjects that you'd like me to cover and to chat about. But today we're going to be talking about buying property in the UK property market. Now, I work with a lot of people, I have mentees, I have people that I train, and I get a lot of questions, and I do have a lot of experience. I've mentored over 400, no, probably over 500 property mentees, investors already, many of those on a one-to-one basis. If you are interested in mentoring with Leslie Tao or myself, then please just drop us an email and we will get back to you and we'll have a chat with you, set up a call and talk. But that is bespoke mentoring. However, buying property in this UK market right now is quite an interesting prospect. And I get, on a daily basis, I get deals sent to me, buildings sent, right move links, properties off market. They send me photographs. I've just got in now on my phone, it has come in, and I can tell you there are 28 pictures of one property, and I will show you a little bit. Look, here we go. You can see there are 28 pictures of going through, and I'm being asked, Trevor, what do you think I can do with this, etc. And it's really, really good. Now, the thing is, what I'm shocked with is many people go down a route and they do want to save on education. There's no doubt about it. People want to save on education. And I will just spend just a minute talking to you about this. I didn't go into property education, and I bought 2 properties without education which cost me over £100,000. I've actually still got them, but they're a negative equity. It was a scam. And imagine if I'd spent £50,000 on my education, then I would have been better off. It's interesting, to date I probably spent over £70,000 on my education, property education, mindset especially, and I will continue to do that. I have some very good friends who are like mentors for me, and they are for me. I am for them. But also I have 2 business mentors as well. So education for me is second to none. What I found though is quite often after the fact, people come to me and they say, look, I put in an offer, I've paid for a survey, and this has come back. What do you think? So some of it will be mining in the area. Wow, that's an interesting one. So with mining, it's done in different categories of grading of the suspicion that it's right there or it's a bit further away, whether it's safe or not. And lenders will take a position whether they're going to lend or not, or the rates on that grading. So if you've got just a normal survey, they may not give you all the information you want. They just say there's mining in the area. Then you have to now go and pay for a specialist report on mining. So it's not the end of the world, but I quite often stay away from mining areas. Why? I just don't want to get into it. So that's an interesting one. It's a little bit about doing some of your own due diligence beforehand. Quite often, and there's one recently with some people I've been working with, and they looked at a house really, really well positioned, really good for a service accommodation. However, there was some land that they wanted to get hold of. No one knew who owned it, etc., etc. And then it came out later on, and this is a long way down because things can be hidden. It can be very hard to find out who owns a piece of land. There is a way of you taking possession of that land over a period of time. That's something I'm not really going to go into, but you can take possession of land or property which has been abandoned, but that's a whole different subject, adverse possession, and I'm not going to go down that one. But when you find something like this and you cannot find who the owner of that piece of common land is, which could be really pivotal for you using it, and if someone else uses it, it could actually block what you can do with that property. You cannot move forward until you find out who owns that land and see if you can buy it. And rightfully so, eventually you found out. It took a lot of work, found out, and it was no good, didn't want to sell, and that was it. The deal was over. But again, money had been paid up front, and this can be really, really painful. Again, just through a little bit of lack of knowledge, I've got 3 training courses at the minute. I've got the Buy, Refurbish, Refinance, a lot of information on there which touches on development. I've got the Purchase Lease Options, which also does the purchase options, and I've got the introduction to buying at auction houses. So there's a huge amount of information, and I do go into a lot of this sort of stuff. But concrete. It's funny, one of my sons has moved back over. He was in Costa Rica, but he lived many years in France, and he was talking that in France they do a lot of construction by putting steel and concrete. That's interesting. So he said, it's quite unusual to see the brick by brick work here back in Britain still going on, because it's very quick, bang, bang, bang. It's up, really quick speed the way they do it. But unfortunately here, there's certain types of concrete which are deemed to be of non-standard construction. And that can mean many other things. Timber frame houses of the old style can be seen as non-standard construction, and they won't pass for lending. The modern style timber houses, which I've just built some, they do satisfy all the criteria for lending, because they're done very, very well, efficiently, safely, long standing as well. So that's a really good place to be. The other thing where people fall down, and I am quite amazed at this, look, it's about asking the right question when you're looking at properties. So some of you say, yeah, I'm buying it as a buy-to-let property, there's tenants in there, okay, I'll keep the tenants, how much are they paying? Yeah, that's about all right, I'll keep them. You must ask the right questions, because you'll go through a survey, you'll engage a solicitor, and couple of months, or let's say 6 weeks down the line, when the contracts have been drawn up, it's going back and forth, your solicitor asks then for a copy of the AST, that's the Assured Short Tenancy Agreement with the current tenants, and guess what? They haven't got one. And now they come under a different rental act, and so they are now classed as a sitting tenant. That means that you cannot evict them, you cannot get rid of them. Plus they have the right for their I think it's one generation to stay in that property after they demise. So it means that you could lose the use of that property for 50, 70 years. It's crazy. And to give you a case in point, I was drawn into a potential deal in Notting Hill in London, and I calculated everything. There was an elderly lady staying in the bottom part of a 3-story house where the owner lived in the top 2 tiers, and I think it was his mother that separated the bottom tier as a flat and rented it to a friend. Now she was paying £700 a month for many, many years, for decades, okay, whatever it was. I think that was the going rate. But at that time, the rent was about £2,500, it should be. But they didn't have any rent increases. They come under different legislation, sitting tenants. Not only that, you can't evict them. So I actually went and we offered this lady, who was in her she was over 75 years old, we offered her £500,000 to leave. Okay, £500,000 we offered her to leave, and so then we could renovate the whole building, sell it on the open market, and it would make a nice profit. She came back and she said, no, I want at least 600 and possibly more, and it killed the deal. And still that has not been sold, and so the person upstairs is stuck, really, really stuck, because he can't sell it all. So imagine that part of the property, that flat, which is probably worth probably now, because that was a few years ago, probably at least 1.5 million, maybe £2 million for that flat, and he cannot sell it because she's still paying £700 a month. So imagine that you looking to buy this. It's such a minefield for you, especially if you're just coming in and you think, let's buy property now because this is the time when we should be doing it. If there are disputes between a freeholder and a leaseholder for lease extensions, anything like this, again, you would have go down your survey, you're going to go to solicitors, you would have spent several £100s, even thousands of pounds, and then you're going to find out, hey, hang on a minute, there's an issue. So when you're going, viewing, ask the agents the right question. Are there any issues? Are there anything I should really be knowing about? And do it by email, because under the Estate Agents Act, an estate agent has to disclose to you anything that they have knowledge of where there's a problem with the property. Hence, let's say Japanese knotweed, that they know it's there, but the owner's suddenly hidden it. Well, if they had prior knowledge and didn't disclose to you and you bought it, unfortunately, they're in a very sticky wicket. Under insurance, they would do, but you have a way to go back and say, no, hang on a minute, that's cost me, and it shouldn't have happened. And especially if a Japanese knotweed is extremely established, it could be a lot of money to get rid of if it hasn't damaged the foundations, etc. So these are questions that you need to understand, need to ask. Contaminated land. Is there any contamination in the land? That doesn't mean to say that it's, you know, radon gas. It could be radon gas, and so regulations have changed around there where you have to stop people from planting things. So in the houses that are built, we've got 600 mil of crushed stone, and then we put loose stone on top, so people can't actually dig and plant things. I kid you not, though, those weeds can grow anywhere. Even, you know, we keep pulling the weeds out. It's quite funny to see those weeds come up, which are dropped from the birds or the wind or whatever. It's amazing how life just keeps going. The hidden stuff, which isn't nice, and I suggest that when you go to and looking at the property, go and get the title deed down. If you've made an offer and they've accepted the offer, go and spend £3 on landregistry.org and get the title deed. When you get the title deed, you can have a look, see if there's any restrictions, any covenants on there, any notices. Okay, so some people I know that they go to buy and they say, well, hang on a minute, now I'm not buying from the owner, I'm buying from this other person. Why? Because they've got an option agreement on it. Now, it's not a problem, but where's the money going to? And you just need to get this sorted out and understand what's going on, because your lender may have a problem with this, and you need to know this up front. Covenants. You might be thinking, I want to do a little, I might want to do an office there. Well, on your covenant, it might say, look, under no circumstance any businesses can take commercial or business activities take place on these premises. That means you're buying it, and all of a sudden you can't have an office because it actually states you can't. So if your neighbour knows it and complains, you'll get an enforcement notice to stop. You don't want that. There's many things like this. Again, through the training that we deliver, there's lots of information. I really hope you enjoyed this. I just want to help you avoid costly mistakes, because when you're buying property, it is full of dangers and you just need to be aware. So again, look, I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe. Please share this to other people, other property groups on Facebook or around. I'd really appreciate that. That's something I would appreciate that you do for me as I keep putting this information out. Make a comment, ask me any questions, and tell me what subject you'd like me to talk on. I wish you all the best. Stay safe, and may God bless you. Bye-bye.